Okay, kironJ, over to you.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning, everybody, or good day, not morning for everybody that's here. Beautiful to be with you, and thank you so much to the Miracle Network for arranging these wonderful gatherings and for inviting me here today. We will be going into 20-minute silence. So I thought it might be rather lovely to look at what do we mean by that silence? What are we choosing to go into? And to give you a particular approach today, which I hope you will find helpful. Now I'm going to give us a quote from the Course. Now there is silence. Now there is stillness, where before there was a frantic rush of thought that made no sense. So the silence that the Course is inviting us into isn't an absence of physical noise. It's an absence of this frantic rush of thoughts that make no sense, ego thoughts. And the Course goes on to say, there is a place in you where this whole world has been forgotten. The entirety of it, good, bad, and everything in between. There is a place in our mind where it's all been forgotten. This is the true presence of silence in our minds. And my invitation to us today is to go to that place, to practice going to that place, having a little willingness to go to that place where the entire world has been forgotten. There may indeed be a distracting thought or two popping up. And if this is the case, I invite you to be uninterested in whatever the thinking is. Passing traffic, nothing going on. Leave it alone. And choose to return to the intention to open up to the presence of true silence in our minds. So I'm going to repeat the quotes again, and then Dan will ring the bell at the beginning of the 20-minute silence and at the end of the 20-minute silence. So would you like to close your eyes now? Now there is silence. Now there is stillness, where before there was a frantic rush of thoughts that made no sense. There is a place in you where this whole world has been forgotten. Now we open to the presence of silence in our minds. Thank you, Dan.
Open your eyes slowly and come back into the room. We have 25 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand or use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll ask you to take yourself off of mute. And if you'd like to ask kironJ a question with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen and I'll read it out. Who'd like to share?
Hi, it's Kirsty here. The question, Kieran, when we go into silence and that the mind quietens down and we have that experience of I don't know, no thoughts, or and that's the opportunity for Holy Spirit to communicate with us. Would you say that that is an opportunity for Holy Spirit to communicate with us stuff about the dream itself, like do this, do that, fulfilling a kind of destiny that we have within the illusion, within the dream? Or is true guidance from Holy Spirit nothing to do with the dream, more to do with unity and love and truth? Do you understand the question?
I do, Kirsty. It's a beautiful question. Thank you very much. The Holy Spirit is the memory of God in our minds. So as we turn to this memory, I think the highest thing we can do is simply open to truth. Because in truth, all illusions disappear. All guilt disappears. We have that connection again consciously, or a reflection of it. Maybe it's not full revelation every time. And in that, everything's answered. We don't actually need to go to the Holy Spirit with, I've had a terrible day, what am I going to do about this relationship? That might be the perfect way in our healing process, but there's no need to at all. We can come to truth. We can come to connection for the sake of connection, because it is remembering who we are. There's no problems there. There's no lack of peace there. The truth of everybody is there. Holy relationship is intact in our decision and in our valuing and in our desiring. Then when we come out of the silence again, that connection, seemingly going about our daily business, we will know, we will automatically know what to do, where to go, who to speak to, what forgiveness practice to focus on. We will know because we have opened up that channel that shows us beyond words. But if that feels a tall order, too much, too abstract, can't do that, what does that mean? If that's going on in our minds, then do. Go to the Holy Spirit in the best way we can. I seem to have a problem. I seem to need a solution for it, and I'd like your help. We will be answered in the way that we are ready to receive the answer. And there's no hierarchy of illusions. In truth, we're all the same, we're all beyond this dream. In the dream, we seem to be at different stages and need different healing input. Is that all right, Kirsty? Does that answer your question? I'll give you something to go on.
Yes, thank you, Kiran.
Saskia,
you.
would you like to say something?
Yes, please. Is that the difference between Holy Spirit and I am presence? Is that the same?
Well, the Course doesn't use I am present. Saskia, could you mute yourself? Because we're getting some feedback. Thank you very much. It makes the airwaves a little clearer. So the I am presence, maybe the Course mentions it once, but it's not a central way of talking about things. It would talk about the presence of Christ in our minds. We are the Christ. The Holy Spirit is our memory of God, which will include the memory of God's extension, which is Christ. So we can get a little caught up when we use terms and ideas from a different teaching, because it will be a different correction process for our minds. It's not wrong. I think it's just useful to be aware. Oh, yes, that's a different correction thought system that's being used in non-duality or Buddhism or whatever other teaching you might be looking at. And it can be useful to see commonalities and go for discernment. What do I really believe is truth? But the Course talks about the presence of Christ in our minds, which is our only true mind. And I find it very helpful to stay with that terminology and stay within the Course teaching. I've done many, many meanderings, but now I find it very helpful to stay within the Course teaching. Is that okay, Saskia?
Oh, I'm still confused.
When in doubt, sorry, can you mute yourself again, Saskia? My last thought to offer you. When in doubt, simply choose to open to the presence of love that is outside the dream. Whatever you want to call it, just there is a presence of love outside the dream, and I can call on it and see where that takes you. And I hope that is helpful.
Okay, who'd like to share? Raise your
Thank
hand
you.
or use the hand signal if you want. I'd just like to say, kironJ, that I found it really helpful when you were saying that you've tried lots of different meanderings with different things, but now you just stick to the Course. And I've done a lot of meanderings as well, and now I just do the Course and nothing else. And I found that I'm going so much deeper with it by just doing one thing instead of lots of little things.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful to hear, Dan. Yeah. And I'd like to underline, nothing's wrong. If you are feeling called to look at a variety of teachings at the moment, then do that. If that's your inner prompting, there will be divine wisdom in it. There will be learning in it. But if you are feeling a prompt that the Course is really your path, then I would so encourage you to go deeply into that, because it is distinctive. There is no other teaching that's like the Course. There are commonalities, naturally, obviously, because all correction paths are leading us to the same place. But I would say, in my experience, the Course can lead us more radically, more efficiently more quickly to the place of truth in our minds. It is so rich, it is so deep, it is so all-encompassing and challenging for that very fact. So it won't be for everybody. And there may be times when we study the course and then think, oh no, it's too much. I'm going to go sideways a bit and I'm going to hang out in a different teaching for a while. Beautiful, that'll be perfect. But yeah, if the course calls you and you're clear about that, then I would say be with it. Be with the challenges of it. Be with its rigorous mind training. There's nothing else like the course's mind training. Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Jay, who'd like to share? Teresa, take yourself off of mute.
There you go. Thank you, kironJ. That was so lovely, and that was so helpful. It was really good for me to hear you say you're not talking about the noise outside, because I often get attached to different noises and think mustn't be that way. But of course, you know, so it was good to hear that. And then it was also good to hear it's the thinking, the thoughts that you need to be disinterested in. I like that word. I've always got thoughts going on and I will meander off. And so it was really good just to think, can I be disinterested in this thought? You know, this thought is about, you know, in an hour or something in 2 hours, or I'll remember it, it'll come back. I don't have to hold on to this thought. And it was really helpful. So I'm going to keep that with my tools. So, thank you very much.
That's beautiful, Teresa. The ego will say, this is a very important thought. You must give it attention. It's desperately important you do something with it. And this is never the case. It's never the case. It's always abandoning that thought and coming to the place of peace and silence and connection within. That's always the answer. And just putting in there that the physical noise, the crashing and banging outside, and of course when you're in London there can be a lot of crashing and banging of various sorts outside. These are images of the internal crashing and banging, always. The neighbour screaming, the sirens going, the whatever it is, that's always an image of our internal unrest. And our point of power is going back to the internal choice for unrest, for crashing and banging, and changing that. And then we can be peaceful if the crashing and banging still goes, because our minds are vast. That shift to the internal peace might not necessarily immediately take the physical crashing and banging out of our experience. But this is where the work is needed, and this is where we can find peace instantly. You just go to the point of peace in us, and then everything else can do its thing and has no power over us at all. Thank you, Teresa.
Who'd like to share? Lynn, take yourself off of mute.
Was that me or Lynn?
Lynn, we can't, Lynn Whitehill. We can't hear you, Lynn. No, can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lynn.
You can type the question in, Lynn.
That's a good idea. And there's a comment. Beautifully said, kironJ. Thank you.
And thank you to the person that's given the comment. Yeah.
Linda, would you like to share?
Yes, that was absolutely beautiful. I'm just so grateful to be here. And there's outbuildings in this farm, barns that have been converted. It's the first time I've heard dogs barking the whole time I was on that meditation. And what you've just said about the noises but it was very faint. I was aware of it, but I was able to ignore it. I'm just amazed. And what you've just said about our internal clutter, our internal noises, I can resound with that. I know exactly what you're saying. It resonated. So being here, I'm asking to see a new perception of what I am experiencing in this farm. Just looking after these animals, not cows, just the domestic animals. But it's a big farmhouse. I'm completely out of my depth. So I just am concentrating on these animals and myself. But the vastness of it all, that it's in the middle of nowhere. It's just wonderful when I am meditating and connecting. But I really appreciate what you've just said about that internal. Doesn't matter how quiet it is, it's still there.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I was able to let it go and not disturb me.
That's brilliant, Linda.
I was
That really is lovely.
just aware of it in the
background. Yeah, yeah.
So
but you were peaceful.
That
Yes.
was what. Thank you so much for those extra words you've just said. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. And perhaps I can just add a couple more for your contemplation. You're saying, I'm feeling quite out of my comfort zone in this place. Maybe you'd like to step back in your mind and see that the farmhouse, the animals, the new scenario, the whole situation is your thinking. It's a picture of your thinking. And if you're experiencing a vastness there that you don't normally, that will be a tiny, tiny glimpse of the true vastness of your mind. So you can be at peace, not out of your comfort zone. You can be the peaceful witness watching these thoughts in your mind.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Who'd like to share? Celia, take yourself off of mute.
I'm not sure what's coming through, but I just want to say I am so grateful for you, kironJ, for this platform, for Miracle Network, for all the help, the guidance, the companionship, the love that is here. And I'm just overwhelmed at the moment that I found the meditation so helpful. I was able to let the thoughts go by not being interested. I was surrendering the whole time to the Holy Spirit. And I just overwhelmed by everything. So thank you.
Thank you, Celia. Thank you very much for bringing your presence here and choosing to open up to that. Yeah. And I would like to echo that it is so beautiful to be here in this gathering with this holy purpose, with this intention to join and remember the true silence in our minds. I am deeply, deeply grateful.
Okay. Dennis, would you like to share? Let's take yourself off of mute.
I'd just like to say thank you for your clarity
Thank
on
you.
the stillness and of the knowing in the world that comes afterwards, and the explanation of this is the only time when we remember who we really truly are. And I'd just like to say thank you.
Oh, bless you, Dennis. Thank you very much. Yeah, we won't find our true self anywhere else but in the stillness and the silence.
I've looked everywhere.
And then we can see the reflection of it as we allow spirit to flow through us in what seems to be our daily lives. As we are kind, as we are gentle, as we do see that we're the same, then we can notice, aha, this is a reflection of my true self. That the true self is beyond all manifestations of love. It just is love. Yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your birthday, Dennis.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, take yourself off of mute and show your appreciation to kironJ.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kieran.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bless
Dennis.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you, everyone.
Birthday, Dennis.
Jay.
Happy birthday to you.
Yes.